Welcome to the flowerschool.com video library. I'm Leanne Kessler, Director of the Floral Design Institute, and today I'm here to share with you our latest segment, the Blooming Garden Pot. It's the perfect arrangement for Mom this Mother's Day. Obviously, the base is going to be a clay pot from the garden. I've lined it with a plastic liner and filled it with soaked foam with flower food. Then for the materials to use, we have such an eclectic collection. We're so lucky now with transportation and the greenhouses and such, we can get most any flower, most any time of the year. So not only can I use the seasonal iris and the tulips, but I can have a sunflower, a cymbidium orchid, roses, billy balls, hypericum. Everything is available right now at Mother's Day. To begin, I want to start with sturdy materials and build a base for the design. Things like safflower, picking out anything that's broken, then cutting it down, removing foliage that'll be below the water, and then just placing it in a radial format. Random placement, not really worrying about where it's going. As long as it goes in radial, pointing to that central binding point, and it begins filling in. It'll create a lush base for all the flowers. I can go back with maybe a little bit of solid aster, doing the same thing, picking it down and placing it in, letting it add a little bit of color. Even going back with the unopened little areas like this, because they'll continue to open in the foam as long as it keeps filled with water and doesn't dry out. Maybe a little bit of Monte Cassino. The mini aster will add some brightness. And again, just radiating it around, not letting it cross at the foam. I want it to go in cleanly, straight down into the binding point, and getting a good insertion of at least 2 inches. Now the fun of flowering. With tulips, we need to remember that they're going to grow towards the light and against gravity. So I want to use them towards the center so that as they continue to grow, it'll just be beautiful coming up through the arrangement. They can come up a little bit right now, but then adding more shorter so that as they continue to grow, they'll stay within the arrangement, tucking it down in, getting a nice 2-inch insertion, maybe a third one. You'll notice they're not perfectly straight. I don't like things that are perfectly straight, but I'm centering them so that as they grow up, they'll have a place to be. Then coming back with the iris, grouping them. Maybe just 2 of them. It's not always important to have 3. So I did 3 tulips, but 2 iris, maybe only 1 sunflower, because it doesn't matter that you use 1, 2, or 3, or 4 or 5. It's what looks beautiful with the arrangement. Maybe a rose, bringing that over to help break the line of the container, tucking it in low, and then bringing another a little longer right beside it so that it shadows. And coming around to the opposite side, and doing this in a round radial format, so I don't want to leave anything bare. I want to bring it all the way around, almost like you're making a triangle. And when you work with equilateral triangles, 1, 2, 3 over here, it'll always be balanced. The tulips, the sunflower, the iris, they too made a triangle at the top of the design. Now to finish filling in, maybe the single cymbidium orchid, brought down front and center to create almost an accent area right here, tipping it so he looks up, even reflexing the petal, and then bringing in some of the crespediae or billy balls to brighten with a little more yellow, maybe over onto this side, and turning it. Maybe bringing another one over here by the orchid, lifting him up a little bit. There we go. Some hypericum. filling in down low. Maybe one over into this side. So I bring that color around. Got one more here. And him come in next to the sunflower because he picks up the color of the center of the sunflower. Then to fill in the base, I don't want to leave it naked. You can still see a little bit of my foam, taking bits of status and tucking them down very low so that they draw the eye inward in the design, and then also cover up the foam so that it doesn't show, helping to break the line. And even a green trick carnation can treat it almost like it's moss, tucking it down really low, close to the foam, adding a bit of vibrancy, and also helping to conceal the mechanics. As I designed, I left that center open. I never did put anything straight down in. I saved that hole for just a little touch of bunny grass, because it's nice and soft, gives it good movement. I can just give it a cut and place it all in at once, sliding it right down into the foam, clustered together, giving a little bit of soft movement right in the center of the design. Then to add value, I could do something as little as taking a clay saucer and just sliding it underneath. Maybe tuck in a little bit of moss to give it a connection to the top. But better yet, take your clay pot, and I'm going to go to one that's a little bit smaller, and add a little bit of glue right to the bottom. Just using hot melt glue. And then set the design right on that, elevating it, making it look bigger, a little showier. And then take little bits of moss right around the seam. Doesn't take very much. Letting it just be loose. It doesn't even have to be totally connected. Maybe a little bit there, a little bit back here. And it'll add the texture at the base, drawing your eye down from the flowers, giving you the perfect finish for your garden pot. I have so many great memories of making Mother's Day arrangements. I loved being a retail florist and doing flowers for my customers' moms, and of course I loved making flowers for all the moms in my own world. Today I don't get to make flowers for my grandmother anymore. She loved them. She was passionate about flowers. I think that's where I got my passion. So in her memory, I oftentimes will take an African violet plant. The violet, that's her middle name, Violet, and its florets are really long lasting. You can just reach in, cutting deep, and then pulling off just a single floret, and then setting it down into a tube. It'll last just as long as on the plant. Kind of amazing. And then tucking that right down into the arrangement is a wonderful accent to the design. For more creative inspiration, check out our website at flowerschool.com. If you've got questions, you can reach us through the website or pick up the telephone and give us a call at 1-800-819-8089. If email is easier, use my personal email. It's Leanne, Leanne, at floraldesigninstitute.com. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day, Grandma. Have fun and do something you love.